The BBC cyber correspondent Joe Tidy was recently approached by criminals offering him money to help hack the corporation. He was offered a 15% cut of any ransom payment if he agreed to cooperate. Well, Joe played along with them for a couple of days before things turned ugly. And Joe is here with us now. How did this start?
Well, I sometimes speak to these cybercrime gangs, sometimes I reach out to them, sometimes they talk to me for stories and for research. But this was an unsolicited message I got on Signal, the encrypted app, and they said, as you say, 15%, give us your login, password and security codes and we'll get into the BBC. And the plan was that they would break into the Beeb and then either steal lots of private data or they would encrypt the servers of the BBC and then demand a ransom payment. We see it all the time. This is how the ecosystem works. They estimated they would get tens of millions of pounds worth of ransom if the BBC paid, which I doubt they would, but if they did. And I would get 15%. They actually upped the offer to 25% at one stage. So I spoke to senior editors here and I decided to sort of play along because this is really a first-hand insight into this part of the cybercrime world that we don't really know much about. It's called the insider threat. And it does happen. People make deals with hackers sometimes. You don't really hear about it, but it does happen. So I wanted to play along and see what happened. And in the end, I sort of said to them, well, how do I know that you're real? How do I know you're not trying to entrap me or scam me? And they agreed to put half a Bitcoin in some sort of deposit system for me, which is $55,000 worth.
So how long did it take before it became unpleasant?
I was talking to them about 3 days and it went into sort of Sunday afternoon and they wanted me to run a piece of code on my laptop to start the planning for their hack. You know, what kind of IT access do I have? I don't have much IT access as a reporter, but they didn't know that. So I tried to stall them for time. They ran out of patience and they started effectively trying to force my hand. So they carried out what we call an MFA bomb, a multi-factor authentication bomb, where they repeatedly try and password reset my account. And my phone was unusable for a couple of hours because it's just every minute I was getting these requests coming in. And if I'd have pressed accept, they'd have been in. I was in control the whole time, but it was unsettling.
It must have been immensely unsettling. I mean, you've sort of alluded to why a BBC login would be of appeal to them. It's about money. It's
about money, and also it's really important to remember that cyber criminals are lazy, so they will find the easiest way into an organisation that they can. Sometimes that is by going on a forum and finding an access broker who has a password and username for a certain organisation. And sometimes it is, and I think this is rare, but sometimes we do hear about them going directly to employees to try and let them give them the foothold into an organisation.
I'm pleased to say that you fully embody the BBC values in your approach to this, Joe, and the Director General would be especially glad. But it is the serious message is that we are all potentially vulnerable.
Yeah, and I think the most sort of interesting thing for me carrying out this kind of experiment was just to see how persuasive and aggressive these cyber criminals are. And I thought to myself, if I was a disgruntled employee or if I was hard up for cash, it would be a potentially lucrative and pleasing offer to get. And only a few days before I got this message, there was a story out of Brazil that someone had done this. They'd sold their username and password to some cyber criminals, which led to apparently about $100 million worth of damage to the bank that was hacked.
And was the person who shared the information found tracked
arrested
down?
Yeah.
There you go. That's why you did the right thing. Joe, thank you very much. Fascinating and alarming. Thank you very much, Joe Tidy.